first two videos, 6.1, 6.2 are on there for people that are online, but now we can make one for them. So 6.3, and the other class, we went through this, so we'll see how long we got and how long we'll take. Basically, you can remember from looking at our how we're going about stuff. I guess I can bring it up. Is it 6? What we could do is kind of show you. This is the on your own version. Okay, so we don't do this year. We used to. All right, but this is where we're heading. All right, so if you're looking at this is again an on your own version, so we can look. We've already done these first 4 columns: trial balance and adjustments. All right, and you can see income summary is now the only account that was not used in both sections. So all of them should have a number, right? And again, we always write. We took all these out of the general ledger and we write down them even if they don't have a balance. Okay. What we're going to do now is we have these last 2 columns we're going to complete. The income statement and balance sheet. Those are 2 financial statements. We're using the worksheet to help prepare us to create these financial statements, okay? Balance sheet. Why are these in balance sheet and these in income statement? Because the 100 accounts, the 200 account, this is just one, and the 300 accounts are assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. They are listed in the balance sheet. So when somebody says balance sheet accounts, you want to think assets, liabilities, owner's equity. Okay? Now the way we have it set up is basically it's everything over income summary is on the balance sheet. So if you get in a bind on a I guess we're using our book. But if you were to thinking like if you weren't using your book and thinking, okay, what was the balance sheet ones? Income summary and above. But if you could think, we put it in order. The 100, 200, and 300. Assets, liability, capital, and ground. The income statement accounts are the revenues. Income statement shows revenue and expenses. So what is revenue? Sales, right? Your sales, your profit, what you sell. And then expenses are all listed there. Okay? That's what we're trying to do. What we'll do is we'll take these, we'll add these numbers up. Okay, none of these equal like the first 4 columns, right? So our trial balance equal. Our adjustments equal. Now we got numbers that don't equal. That doesn't mean, holy cow, I did this wrong. We got to do something. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to figure out net income or net loss by using this worksheet as a tool. And 6.1, it was like the last thing that the worksheet does is helps us find net income or net loss, okay? So what we do with that is, if you can see, I'll move that, I can maybe zoom in a little bit so people can see a little better, okay? What you do with this is we're going to take the bigger number of the 2 in the column. You're working in separate columns, right? So you want to take the bigger number of the 2 and you will drop it down. The bigger number always goes down. You don't have to do anything with the bigger number. Okay? This number is what? Do you remember? Sales, right? Revenue. So if sales is bigger than all of these, which is what? Expenses. If sales is bigger than expenses, that's good, right? You have a lemonade stand, you make $10, you spent 2, you made 8. That's good. So when revenue, income statement credit, is bigger than expenses, income statement debit, you drop the bigger number, subtract these, get that. You put the number, the difference between the 2 below the smaller number, and then add them up so that these 2 will equal. Okay? That makes sense? This number then represents net income. And you'll put that over here. Why is it net income? Because sales, this 8,280 number, is bigger than all of our expenses. When revenue is bigger than expenses, you subtract the two, you get net income. Now over here then, you would add up all your balance sheet account. Get this. Then you have all the money invested in capital and all the bills you have. You add those two up and get the number. Okay? You take the bigger number, and what do you do with the bigger number? You drop it, right? And then you subtract the difference and put it there. And then you can see here that these two numbers should equal, right? Mr. Bird, well, I just heard it printed. No, I wasn't working earlier, so I was kind of happy. I'm like, maybe that's the crap I printed. So you can see these two equal, right? And now everything should be the same. Yeah. You playing tonight?
Yeah.
Good luck.
How'd you end up last night?
Soft one, varsity, not so much. Played pretty good.
Who won the varsity girls?
Lucky bad. 80 to something to 50. 78, 50. Studs, yep. So now they equal, okay? And then you can kind of see this number here, this 5424 is a debit, and this 5424 is a credit. So even through all this crap that we're doing, I keep saying crap, I shouldn't be saying that, sorry. All the stuff that, I know, sorry. All the stuff that we're doing, we still have debits and credits equaling, okay? So all our things that you keep doing, the principals still add up. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're going to do right now. We're going to hammer through it quick so we can give you some time. We're going to prepare the balance sheet income statements. We're going to rule the worksheet. And we're going to find out if there's any errors. All right. So it talks about how do we get these numbers over. I didn't talk about that, so that's good. You just carry them over, right? Whatever. I should zoom in more again. Whatever the number is over here in the trial balance, if there's no adjustment, you just carry it over into the correct corresponding balance, debit or credit. So we put the debit to debit, debit to debit, debit to debit, because nothing is in adjustments. Now we run into something with supplies, don't we? It's not that big of a deal, but we thought we had 620. We used 530, so we have to subtract that. Remember this $90? That's the number that was supplies on hand. So you have to take the debit minus the credit to get the updated number, right? That's the whole idea of that adjustment. You have to take the debit of insurance, subtract what we used, the adjustment, and this is how much we actually have. And then when there's no adjustments, you just bring the number over, bring the number over, bring the number over. And then the last one, debit. Now, where often there might be a mistake is like you're watching TV or listening to music and you bring these numbers over and you put in one of them in the wrong column. Okay? So you just got to double check. Yep, bond. If they don't work, put them in the, just double check it. Because it is easy to put an account payable over here or to put drawing over here. So just double check that. But you guys get that? You're just transferring the numbers over unless you've got an adjustment, you subtract them. That's all we're talking about here. Oh, I don't have any of the highlights in this one. Sorry, I'm in the wrong, I only do it on one class. It's not going. Sorry. I do like the problems in one, the notes in the other. It's a circus. Okay. Test question. How many financial statements come from filling out a worksheet? 2. The income statement and the balance sheet. Okay. We're getting them set up. Now, again, this is a very simplistic way of doing things, but we're just learning accounting, so that's all we're doing. But there's 2 financial statements that come from preparing the numbers come from the balance sheet and the income statement. Okay. We kind of covered some of this, so this is good. What is a balance sheet? Those are the financial statement that shows the relationship of the totals of assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. The 100, 200, 300 accounts. It's cash, petty cash, accounts receivable, supplies, prepaid insurance, all your accounts payables, your capital, and your drawing. That's the balance sheet accounts. Okay, and it talks about that right here. If you need help understanding how to take those numbers over to the balance sheet, they have some step-by-step. I don't know if this, you're going to have to do it on the test, and this is the only tricky part, other than copying the number from one debit column to the other debit or one credit to the other. So I just highlighted this, letting you understand, hey, how did you get 90? You took 620 minus the adjustment to get the updated 90. Okay? So, when you're looking at the income statement, we're doing the same thing. How do we get these numbers? Everything below income summary. And what is that? Revenue and expenses. You will take the numbers over. If there's no adjustments, you just transfer the number over into the appropriate debit or credit column. Now, here, insurance expense is 0. 0 plus 150 is 150, right? 0 numbers here, but we have 150 in adjustments. So we take that over and put it in there. 45. We have 0 here in the trial balance. But we have 530 in supplies, so we take that over. So these are expenses, that is revenue. And what do they show? A financial statement showing revenue and expenses is an income statement. Okay? Everything's kind of tied together. They just show the debt. I mean, this just talks about transferring the numbers over. If it's 0 plus the number, it equals the number. You kind of know that stuff from elementary math. But that's it. That's transferring the numbers over. Now we're getting to where I was talking to you about. Now we have these numbers transferred over, correct? It's separated from by the income summary. But the problem is we need to find out if it's a net income or net loss. So how do you do that again? The bigger number you will drop. So if I zoom in a little bit so you can see, the bigger number of the two we drop, which happens to be sales. So that means sales is bigger than expenses. When revenue is greater than expenses, it's a what? Net income. Hopefully that makes sense, right? The lemonade stand. Okay? Your revenue is greater than expenses, it's a net income. So you subtract these, get the difference. We add the difference to the smaller one, and now we get the numbers to equal. And then you do the same process over here. You add up the balance sheet debit, balance sheet credit numbers. You get these two numbers. Which one's bigger? 5,387 is bigger. So you drop the bigger number down, subtract these two, get the difference. It should equal the difference you found over in the income statement column. If these two numbers were different, that's when you need to ask me a question. Or you go back and re-add a column just to double check, or I might give you this number, and if it doesn't work, then you got to go, oh crap, I got to fix why is it not working? Why is it not equaling? Okay. Then you add it to the small one, and then these two should equal. So the trial balance numbers equal without anything done to them. The adjustments should equal. And then to get the income statement and balance sheet numbers to equal, we have to find net income or net loss. Okay, so the difference between total revenue and total expenses is net income. We just showed you that. If you hear the phrase net profit, that's the same as net income. Which hopefully kind of makes sense to you. That part cool? You will need to write the words. I just highlighted this. This isn't really a study guide test question, but it's something you have to do. Don't forget. You need, a lot of times people will forget to type in net income over here. And then you'll get a point taken off, which as long as you get inside 88, doesn't matter, you know, I mean, but that's just a quick reminder, okay? All right, I'm going to zoom back out in just a minute because it's too big. All right, what happens if it's a net loss? If it's a net loss, that you're doing everything down here the same. So what I mean by that is you're going to take that debit and credit, look at it, which one's bigger? Debit. You take the bigger one down, subtract these, add the difference to the smaller one so that you get them to equal. How do you know it's a net loss? When expenses are bigger than revenue. Okay, so if you have a lemonade stand, you spend $10 on supplies and you only make $8 of sales, you lost $2. Keep it super simple, okay? So you're going to do it the same. Drop the bigger number, subtract, add the difference to the smaller number. The only difference is it'll be on the sales column, and revenue's less than expenses, so you'll write net income or net loss. When expenses are greater than revenue, it's a net loss. So over here, your liabilities, for lack of a better way, is bigger. The bigger number drop, subtract the difference, add it to the smaller number, and then you get them to equal. You still have a debit and a credit, it's just a net loss. Okay, what's net loss? The difference between total revenue and total expenses when expenses is greater. Kind of, sort of, okay? Okay, a couple head nods. Expenses exceed revenue, it's a net loss. That's redundant. I just told you that. And this part, again, if you're having a hard time with it, they have all these steps for all these pictures written out. Go back through it, read this. I mean, no one's gotten dumber by reading. You're only going to get smarter. All right, it's only going to be more clear. So don't be afraid to read it, if that'll help you. All right, now unfortunately, you're not done listening to me. We have this area, this information here about correcting errors. All right, it's not a bad spot to put it, I guess. So we'll talk about it. There may be errors in a variety of spots. Okay, and so we need to make these. Error could be written down, it could be added up, it could be put in the wrong column, a variety of things. Okay. It says correcting errors. There could be some errors in different spots. Could be in the general ledger. Could be in the worksheet. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. A worksheet, again, they're making a big deal about this pen and paper pencil thing. A worksheet's a temporary financial item. Okay. That means you can erase things in it. Now, again, we're not writing stuff, so it doesn't matter. But you do need to understand there will be a question on the test or study guide or both that'll say true, false, maybe, or something like you can erase you can erase and correct an error in a worksheet. True or false? True. You can't erase a worksheet error in a worksheet. False. You want you to erase errors in a worksheet because they're temporary accounts. They're not permanent accounts or permanent records. Okay. Now, I know it seems weird, but that's it. These are some hints for calculating or correcting errors that maybe were made. So in other words, this is kind of like if you were self-reliant, self-efficient, on your own. If you were trying to fix an error, these are some quick little guides to help you. So many people are self-sufficient. So we got, if an error is off by 1, like a penny, dime, dollar, $10, off with a 1. Often that is an addition error, meaning you added something wrong, either in the ledger or in the worksheet. So if you had an error and you're off by a penny or a dime, a dollar, $10, it's probably adding, they say, more often than not. Now, it could be something else, but that's the first thing you should do. Another thing they say is if it's divided by 2, this one is always something we'll use. Back when we were doing everything in pen and paper, people would ask all the time because it was harder to, you had to write, you had to type stuff down, there's more errors. And they would be off, I'm off $50. So what would I look for? I'd look for something that was omitted, a $50 item, but I'd also look for things divisible by 2. So if it was off by 50, I'd go look for something that was 25. Because if it's off 50, am I supposed to be in this column and I just put it in the wrong column. So now you got a $50 difference. So if it's evenly divisible by 2, subtract it, divide it by 2, and look for that item. So if it was 48, okay, so I would look for an item 48 that was omitted or 24 that was put in the wrong column. That kind of sort of makes sense. If something's divisible by 9, that means it could have been transposed or it could have been a slide. Now here's another thing. It also could be, instead of $45, it was $22.50, right? In money, you can divide, But what is transposed? So let's say instead of writing 153, I write 135. Having these numbers transposed, whatever way, either way, that's just flip-flopping them. Okay? And then a slide would be, instead of writing $10.50, I wrote 105. You slid the decimal point. Now you can slide it either way. Same thing. You slid the decimal point the wrong way. You know what I mean? That's what they're talking about. So if it's divisible by 9, you might go look. Did I write all these numbers down? And I flip-flop one. If you're typing in a ton of numbers, it could be flip-flop, transposed. And again, I kind of mentioned this one already. If you're off $48, I'd go look for something that was 48. You might have just omitted it. If it's off 50, I would look, did I miss something that was $50? Did I miss something that was $25 and in the wrong column? You just keep going through the list. But those are some hints of being self-reliant a little bit. The rest of this is just a reminder about supplies. It's out of order. But the ending balance of the asset supplies should represent what's on hand at the beginning of the next fiscal period. Supplies expense, once again, represents what was used. Okay? And then these are just some questions. If there's an error in the trial balance, why is it written in there correctly? Did you copy it from the general ledger correctly? Errors and adjustments, what would you do? None of those are test questions. They're just some thoughts. Again, if you wanted to learn a little bit more about it, you can go ahead and read them. But nothing obstruct. But these might actually help you, like a quick fix. Okay. I think that's it. We got time. We're out of here at 1:40. All right. Let's do the work together and then we'll call it a day. That's what we did with the other class. We didn't do that. So 6-3, end of lesson, working papers. 6-3, work together. I'm not switching back. Already did it. Crap. That's right. So it says, first thing it says, April 30th, we're going to do extending the balances. We're taking the balances from the trial and adjustments and taking them over to the correct column. It says, fix it now, complete the trial balance and adjustments. That's what you guys did, 6-1, 6-2. We want to extend the up-to-date balances to the balance sheet and income statement. All right. So that's what we do. So first thing is everything above income summary, all the assets, liabilities, and owner's equity goes into the balance sheet. Correct? I want to get it so it's income summary. There you go. So if it doesn't have an adjustment, we just take it, transfer it to the debit column. Take it and transfer it to the debit. Take it and transfer it. Take it and transfer it. But now you got supplies. A debit in supplies minus a credit and adjustments gives you the up-to-date balance level for the balance sheet debit column. In other words, this is the supplies on hand at the end of the month, right? That's what we're going to be able to tell our managers, this is how much we have left. That's why we got to order some more stuff next month so that we can work and we can make some money. You need stuff to make money, usually. Okay? Prepaid insurance, same thing. You take the debit, subtract the credit, get the up-to-date balance of your value of your insurance premium moving into the next fiscal period. Then you just got to be careful. You put accounts payable and capital in the credits and the drawing. Again, what's a balance sheet? It's a financial instrument or statement summarizing the up-to-date balance accounts of assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. 100, 200, 300. Okay? I made an error. That's why I didn't want to show you. I typed it in wrong. Fat fingers. Is that going to screw you up? So I go to the other problem. I go to the other problem. Well, I can't because then I'd have to go through it all. So just pretend that says 6. I typed in 60. No one told me I did. They just let me do it. You're going to transfer these numbers over to the income statement. Can I just show this one? I'll just show this one. That's better. That way you don't see the error. So everything below income summary, is in the income statement. What's the income statement financial thing? It represents all revenue and all expenses. So revenue in our case is sales. So we put sales and sales. And then there's no adjustments for those first two. Now insurance expense is 0. 0 plus 125 is 125, right? 189 plus 0 is 189. And then 0 plus 153 is 153. Jeez. People are going nuts. $550 plus 0 is $550. So now we add these numbers up. And you don't have to add these numbers up. I've got the totals right there for you. Can you see them? 1,483. 1,483 is the income statement debit. Obviously, the credit's just the one number, right? 2,160. And the balance sheet debit is $8,387. And then the balance sheet credit is $7,710. So you got, that is step one, the first tab, right? The income statement's always easier, I think. And it's the one that I always do. You're going left to right, so you're doing it first because sales bigger than expenses. You don't even have to add anything for sales. The sales is the only one there. So right away, like when you're adding these up and you see sales is bigger than expenses, you already know you got revenues better than expenses. You know it's a net income. Any questions with that first part? You all right with it? Okay. You all right if I move on, Bon? Okay. So then you go to the second tab. You guys have to click save or whatever. Calculate net income or net loss. It says calculate and record net income or net loss, label the amount, column, title. That's always something that we forget, so don't forget it. All right, so now you're down here. Income statement credit, balance debit credit, we're down here at the bottom. How do we say is the easiest way to think about doing this? Take the bigger number and bring it all the way down. Right? What is that bigger number? In this case, it's sales. So sales is bigger than expenses. Revenue is bigger than expenses. When you make more money than you spend, you have over here what's called a net income. You agree? Then we're going to take 2160. We got to subtract. Find the difference. Minus 1483. We get 677. We add 677 to the lower number. And now you have 2,160. If these didn't add up, you would raise your hand and let's go, hey, I don't know what's going on. My income statement columns aren't adding up. They should. Does what I did here make sense to you? Hopefully. Kinda. Revenue is greater than expenses, net income. Subtract the two, add the small one to the big one. Or add the small one to the difference. Get the numbers. We'll do the same exact process on this side. Big number you drop, 8,387. Subtract 8,387 minus 7,710. That equals 6,677. Now again, if you just go, well, it should equal 677, so I'm just going to write it. Hopefully you're right. But if you don't subtract, you'll never know. You could just write it over here, but then you might have 10 things wrong up here. That'd be called, it's going to, but whatever. You can add these two numbers up, and they should equal the same. We have one debit for 677, one credit for 677. All right? That is it. What we'll do, we meet next Tuesday. We will give you the first 5-10 minutes, log in, and do the application problem for 6-3. So you don't have to do any homework. You don't have to do the app. You can quit. I don't even remember. Is there a 6-4? I believe there's a 6-4. Yeah. Then we got to journalize and post these. So we'll do the application problem next Tuesday, and then we'll do 6-4. Okay? And then when we come back from break, well, we might actually do the study guide too. So then we have this day off. I guess Monday we find out what we're doing school-wise, if we're coming back or not. But in theory, let's say we stay with hybrid. I'm just guessing. I have no common knowledge whatsoever. Now, I mean, we meet on Tuesday, and then we do like the mastery problem, then we have to take the test the next time we meet. If we get to go in school all the time, then we'll just do the mastery problem review and take that. We'll just kind of see. We'll know more Monday.